Hello from my bed.
Hello from your chaise. You look so relaxed.
Yes.
Maybe you should always podcast like this.
Well, this arm is gonna get numb.
Oh. Well, let me know if you need to resituate.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
Sarah is podcasting from her bed today. This is her dedication, her level of dedication to the show. Sarah has. Do you want to tell the people what's going on with you, Sarah?
A herniated disc. It's when the soft tissue in between something in your back spits out of
your disc.
Slips out.
Apparently.
It just slips out like
Slipped
a
right
little
out.
tongue.
Ew, really? Is that how
yes.
they explained it?
No.
Oh,
no,
the
that's
doctor
how
didn't
I'm
do.
explaining it.
The doctor didn't do this with his tongue.
No. I'm so glad he didn't.
You'd be like, I am suing you immediately. Because we were supposed to record last week.
Mm-hmm.
We were all set to record this episode last week,
and my back hurts so badly that I couldn't even think straight, and I was just like,
sit up in front of the microphone.
I can't do it. And so we had the great idea yesterday that I could just lounge in bed,
lay in bed, and record. Why not? I mean, maybe that's what we should all be doing: is recording our podcast from bed.
I think so.
Welcome to the Adam and Andy podcast.
Welcome.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And we might record all future episodes from our beds. Maybe we'll turn this into like a sleepover kind of situation.
Maybe. You know, we have pillows.
We do.
So.
The pillows. Okay. I feel like.
Don't tell anyone.
Should we keep it a secret?
I don't know. What should we do?
I feel like, I didn't even consider talking about this. I'll just say this. Sarah and I are going to be doing a photo shoot very soon with the fabulous Lola Scott, who's a photographer in Atlanta. Go check out her. It's at Lola Scott Art, right? Is her Instagram?
Right. Lola Scott Art.
Amazing. Like, her pics are amazing. If you're in Atlanta and you're looking to get like a photo shoot done, if you're a podcaster, or if you're an actor, or if you just like want to feel beautiful.
If you're just a person who wants to have pictures of yourself that are amazing.
Her pictures are so amazing and creative and cool. And
I just got some yesterday.
That's right. You did a photo shoot. And we're going to do a photo shoot for the podcast because we've done photo shoots for our other podcasts, the Georgia Maid, which we only did for like a season. And then for the Feminine Mistake, we've done a couple of photo shoots. But we've never done one for this show, and we have some special props. That's all I'm going to say. Special
props.
We have some special props that Sarah procured for us for the photo shoot. So more on that when the photos come. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. Would you like to get into some Adam and Andy news?
Please tell me.
Okay. A lot has happened. It's been a big couple of weeks for our boys, Adam and Andy. Who do you want to hear about first? Well, actually, we'll start with Andy. I have the Andy pickup first.
Okay, go ahead.
So we'll go with Andy first. So let me get my visual aids rocking here. Okay, so you see this?
Yes.
Okay. So last week, so when we didn't record last week, but the week that we didn't record was Thursday of last week. That was the last 2 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine ever aired.
Yeah.
On Hulu. Well, it's on Hulu and Peacock, or I don't know. It's not Peacock. I don't fucking know. Anyway, wherever it was, it aired on television and on Hulu. We have not seen the remaining episodes. We're watching them very, very slowly. Am I right?
Very slowly.
So tonight we're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of season 8. Sarah and I are dragging this out as long as possible. So if you've already seen the entire season 8, first of all, don't tell us what happens. But secondly, I'm avoiding spoilers. Last week was tough. I think I got spoiled on a couple of things, but I'm trying very hard not to. Anyway, so they aired their last episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Lots of heartfelt sentiments, lots of heartfelt dedications on the social media. And then I didn't even watch Seth Meyers because I was so afraid of getting spoiled. But anyway, they were on Seth Meyers right after the show aired. And so I bookmarked it on my Twitter so I can go back and watch it later.
Nice.
Don't they look cute?
They look so cute. Who's the guy on the left?
I'm pretty sure that I think that's Mike Schur, the showrunner.
No.
On the left? Yeah, I think so.
That's Mike Schur?
I think so. Or am I thinking of the wrong showrunner? Please look up the showrunner. I'm pretty sure that's the showrunner. But I want to say it was Mike Schur, I think.
He's so tall.
He is very tall.
Is Mike Schur tall?
I guess Wikipedia will tell us. This is the quality of journalism you can find on this podcast. Just like our other shows, we don't know what we're fucking talking about. I'm glad
He's only 6 feet tall.
He's only 6, so I mean, on the scale
and he
of
doesn't
tallness,
look like that.
so that's not him. So who's the fucking showrunner? That is the showrunner who's with them there. Head writer is with them, I believe. And this, God damn it, tweeted us at AnimatedPod. I'm sorry, I didn't watch the Seth Meyers. I knew when I pulled this picture up, I was like, oh fuck, who is that? I was like, that's fine. Sarah's not going to ask me who that is, but I should have known better.
Dan Gore.
Dan Gore. I'm killing myself. I'm killing myself right now for not knowing that. Yes, of course it's. God, I feel so stupid. I'm thinking. I think I've been listening to too much Parks and Recollections. That's what I've been listening to.
But Mike Schur did start this show.
That's what I thought.
He did.
So maybe Dan Gore, Dan Gore's been more vocal about the show. I don't know why I didn't know that. I apologize to all the 9/9 fans out there that I fucked this up. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm only a human being.
It's fine. I'm looking up his height because
he seems tall.
He's 6'3.5"
Oh, he's a half inch taller than Adam.
Yeah, Adam is not that tall, Nicole. He's not that tall.
6'3" is tall. How can you say he is not tall? He is known for being so large.
Yeah, that's still not very tall. That's like regular tall.
Sarah, he would tower over me.
He would, but I tower over you.
I know, but you don't emotionally tower over me. I feel like emotionally we're at least in the ballpark of the same height.
Yes, but I also like Adam's width. You know, you're always talking about his width. Like I think I'm probably wider than he is.
That is not
in the shoulders
true.
And everywhere.
You know what? There are many reasons why I wish that one day I would just run into Adam Driver on the street. And now I want to run into him so that Sarah can stand next to him and I can prove to her that she is not as wide as Adam Driver. What are you even talking about? What are you talking about?
My shoulders.
Sarah, stop it. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine is over. I'm sad. I feel sad, but I haven't emotionally processed it yet because you and I are still watching it.
Yeah.
So I'm not super sad yet.
You know what my main thought is when I look at this picture? Mm-hmm. The dress that what is her name?
She plays Melissa Fumero.
Amy.
Yeah.
That is like a really she looks so great.
She looks amazing.
I'm just like imagining like that dress on me. I'm just like, that is a really, really hard silhouette to pull off.
You think? I think you could pull it off.
Yes, because if you have any pooch in your belly, which is like most women,
yeah,
it's gonna look weird. I mean, she looks great, but it's just like, I would not wear that dress.
I mean, I would, but I would be wearing like 8 layers of Spanx. I'd be 8 layers deep in Spanx. Like you would have to. I think by the time you got the Spanx off my body, like all of the blood would have gone away from my torso and I would need to be massaged or something to return blood flow to the center of my body.
And also where it hits her on her leg, like that length, that like mid calf makes everyone look shorter than they are.
Well, she looks fabulous. They all look fabulous. Look how happy and smiley they are. I'm glad to see that. I always mix them two up. Hitchcock, Scully, which is the one who's been on the
I don't know
video calls. I think it's Scully. Oh fuck, or is it Hitchcock? God damn it. Anyway, it's good to see that he's with everybody else. He's not on a video screen. Maybe they'll explain that in one of these episodes.
Yeah, maybe because of COVID or something.
I don't know. It's Hitchcock, by the way. And I'm saying that with confidence, but I don't really have confidence. God, I feel like I'm proving myself to not be a fan of this show, even though I've been watching it forever, and I feel terrible. I'm sorry,
No.
guys. I'm having an off night. Maybe I'm just like emotional and I don't know it about the show ending. I was very sad to think that the show is over, but for me, it's not over. So I haven't fully mourned it yet. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean, I only watched the first season and a half of this show, so I'm not really attached to it.
Okay. Well, I know that when I get to the end, I'm going to be sad. But we
Hmm.
still have a lot more episodes to go.
Yeah.
So, not yet there yet. All right, I think that's all I've got for Andy. On the 9th of September, which was a while ago, they did have like a big fan video they put out, which I sent you a link to, which was very cute. It was 9/9 day, and they put out this video that was like a lot of super cuts of like great moments from the show and different characters, and like every time Terry used his name in the third person, that was very funny.
Hmm.
There was a bunch of like the bloopers and stuff. Anyways, really really sweet and funny. So if you haven't seen that yet, it's on YouTube. Brooklyn 99 Day, and they cut a whole thing. It was like a fan video that they put out, which
Oh
was
yeah,
really
no,
cute.
I watched the first
It was like an hour
so
and a half long.
I couldn't watch the whole thing, but I
Yeah.
did watch the first like maybe like 5 minutes of
Mm,
it, and then I had to work. But
mm.
I forgot to go back and watch it. But yeah, I watched the
That was good. I
the,
enjoyed that. I was
the
like, damn,
Terry stuff.
he did call him say a lot of things about himself. I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
I had, it's like you get used to it. You
and
don't.
that made me pay attention to the times he did it in these two
Mhm.
episodes too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so I think that's it for Andy. The new Transylvania movie is coming out soon. I want to say it's in like another week and a half or so. Transform formia Transformia. What is
Transformia.
wrong with me today? It's number 4. Anyway, we won't be covering it on the show because we already agreed that animated shows and thirst do not mix.
Yeah, no.
So we decided not to cover it on the show, but I'm sure I'll watch with my kids and I'll give you an update probably. They love the Transylvania movie, so okay. Moving on. So the Last Duel. Here's a poster that was recently released this week, actually, of from the Last Duel. Sarah, you look like you're having a reaction to this. Like, what is happening in your on your face? Are
Ew.
you don't like it? What is
He
it you
looks
don't
like
like
he
about it?
has no teeth or like
Well, he has
gross
teeth. I can
teeth.
see his teeth. I can
And then
literally see his teeth.
he looks like he has like crap on his teeth.
It's I think it's a shadow. So it's a poster of his face with the helmet. You don't like it. I think I really like medieval Adam Driver. I'm just going to say it. I can say it now because I haven't seen the movie yet. So I'm sure my feelings about him will change. Not Adam, but the character when I see how truly awful he is. But for now, I can thirst from a distance before I actually see how truly awful this guy is. But I'm liking all the medieval Adam picks, I got to say.
Yeah,
Sarah
the
does not
teeth
like it.
and the mustache
You
and
don't like the
the
mustache.
skin and the
Well, the picture is very contrasty, and so you just don't think the picture is flattering, is what you're saying.
it's terrible.
Oh, okay. I don't.
It
I think
doesn't
his eyes don't aren't the right color, which is weird to me. Like his eyes don't look like they normally do, but you can tell
yeah.
somebody did a lot of like color grading on this shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so The Last Duel premiered at Venice Film Festival since we last talked. Adam was not there. The reviews are very good so far, so at least there's that. A lot of people are saying it's very epic. It's a big epic, battle, expensive, high budget kind of movie. This the Adam and Jodie Comer's performances have been praised. I don't know about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It seems like the people that really shine in this movie are, based on the reviews. I didn't read them. I just kind of like have seen it passing through my feed. I don't like to read reviews before I go see the movie because I don't like to affect what I think of the movie. I know you like to read reviews. But I did notice on Twitter that the wigs are getting dragged pretty hard. But that Adam and Jodie
Yeah. Didn't
are.
we drag the wigs when we
Oh yeah,
watched
I
the
think those
the
wigs
preview?
deserve to be dragged. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand what the deal is with those weird like
Blonde mullet wigs.
Texas 90s hairstyles that's going on. Anyway, also the Last Duel like premiered, so not just at a festival, but like premiered in the UK today. So today was the UK premiere of the Last Duel officially. Adam again, not there. Haven't seen him in a while. Not sure where he is. I'm gonna guess he's still filming.
Atlanta.
Well, so that's the other thing is White Noise is filming in Atlanta, but I don't know if Adam is here or not because they're also filming in Ohio still. So I don't know if he's here, if they're filming other stuff that doesn't have anything to do with him. I haven't sensed his presence in the force yet, so I just don't know. But if I run into him at the Target, you better believe I'll tell you about it.
Yes.
Right after I recover from my
Yes.
fucking heart attack.
I loved Chris's response where he was
Oh, my
like, I'll
husband.
run up to him and be like, and give him a kiss and be like, I kissed him first.
Oh Lord. Yeah, my husband is very good natured about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one more big thing that happened. This was fun. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. I intentionally didn't talk to you about it, but I did talk about it on social media, so I'm not sure if you saw, but uh the Emmys were last weekend. Did you watch?
I didn't know.
You and I used to watch them like every year.
Yeah.
But I just haven't been into it, I guess, recently. So last week tonight with John Oliver won best writing and best variety series. And the writing staff during their speech dedicated the award to Adam Driver.
Oh.
In fact, they said this award is dedicated to Adam Driver. This was one of the writers speaking. He knows what he did. And I think she said, and he knows what we want him to do, I think.
What?
It was very funny.
I want to know what his response, like what his reaction is.
I assume he's amused. I mean, he obviously
Yeah.
participated in the joke, but he was not at the Emmys. And then afterwards, John Oliver was asked, backstage, they interview everybody. And at the backstage, I think somebody was like, what's the deal? Like, why did you dedicate this award to Adam Driver? And he's like, well, basically, even when he wasn't even when we weren't talking about him or he wasn't on the show, his presence was felt throughout the season. That's what he said.
That makes no sense.
It's so amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I just love it so much. This is the joke that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And I never want it to end. I am now worshiping the entire writing staff of Last Week Tonight as if I wasn't already.
Yeah, it's a good show.
And that's all I've got for Adam and Andy news.
Nice.
So shall we talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Season 8. Okay. So I guess we'll just start with the first episode here. Episode 3. Blue Flu. Which at first I was like, oh, is this like an episode about like, is this like a sort of veiled COVID episode? But it's not. It's not at all. So Sarah, what is the blue flu?
Blue flu is the disease you get when you eat a rat or a mouse. I'm just kidding. No.
That's what they want us to think.
It's the cops who are sick with mono from. Did they get it from a mouse?
They're not actually sick.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's what they want us to think.
Well, I think the blue flu means that is when all of the cops are on strike, basically, and so they're saying that they're sick, and that's why they're calling it the blue flu, because everyone in the station, all the street cops or whatever, are not showing up to work, but they're saying that they have mono.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yes, they claim to have got like it was over one cop saying that he got a dead mouse in his burrito and that it was intentional. So again, we're sort of returning to the territory of like cops versus the people. And, at first I was like, okay, so the joke is that the cops are not at the station, so we got to figure out how to live without them, and like how do we get them back and expose sort of this lie that's going on. And at first I like really wasn't sure where they were going with that. Like, I don't know about you, but I was like, what's what's the game here? And then at the end, I was like, oh, okay, here they are surprising me with some very smart writing. And because I was like, I guess they did that one episode about police brutality and that was it, right? But that's not the case. And I don't want to jump ahead to the ending, but I think that the I do think the ending speaks to, again, the show sort of making a statement on police and their relationship to the public and whether it's positive or negative. I do think that was a play here, even if it wasn't specifically about police brutality.
Yeah.
Which I didn't expect them to return to again, because I was like, I guess they felt like they covered it. But I'm glad they're not dropping it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. So a lot of other things going on here. You have the strike, and then Holt has a 3-pronged approach. So Sarah, do you want to tell us about the prongs?
I love the prongs. Jake was convinced that Trident has 5 prongs, and
yeah, because of Aquaman. Or was it 4 prongs? 5 prongs.
It was 5 prongs, and he was like, "That's a pentadant," and Jake is like, "No, it's a trident." But basically, the 3 prongs are,
and that's our storylines, basically.
Yeah, and
so what are the prongs? You're about to give us a rundown of the prongs.
Jake and Boyle.
And what's their thing that they're supposed to be doing?
So they're supposed to be, I forget.
I believe they were trying to figure out they were trying to prove that the doctor was lying. The doctor that had written all the mono excuses. Okay. So they had Boyle go to the doctor.
Yes, we'll get there.
Yes.
Prong 2. Amy and Terry.
Yes.
What was their
I think prong? Their initial prong was to get detectives from other precincts to fill in for the fact that all their beat cops were not there.
Mm-hmm.
And that also went awry.
Yeah. So prong 3 is Rosa
Diaz. Finding a way to bring Rosa back in, because they needed somebody who was not in the force to do the dirty work of digging up some stuff to figure out, like, where are these... Digging up the lies. That was Rosa's job.
Yes.
So where do you want to start with these storylines?
So Jake and Boyle. I wrote down testicle issues.
So Boyle goes to the doctor because he's had mono already. And so the idea is that if he gets diagnosed with mono, they'll be able to prove that the doctor was lying. But instead, he has some testicle issues. And they think it might be cancer, and so he has to wait for a test, and then that leads to Boyle sort of reflecting on his life.
He spends the rest of the episode kind of in a state of grief and mourning, like pre-grief, kind of like, I'm going to die, like it's all over, you know?
Yeah, like a lot of existential dread and thinking about your own mortality. And in a way, I think also like a little bit of like, I don't want to call it an excuse, but a way in for us to begin mourning the show ending. That's kind of how it felt to me, because Boyle had a lot of speeches in this episode where he's reflecting on his friendship with Jake and how he was like, I thought we were going to be like, you know, busting bad guys into our 90s, and like he's
into
just
our 90s.
Yeah, isn't that what he said? I thought so.
I forget.
But he a lot of this is centered on him and his of course his child, and how he wants to be there for his growing up with his son, but also like his friendship with Jake, and how how he loves his friends, and he doesn't want to lose these friendships that he's built. His speech actually was like the one where he's talking to Jake and Jake starts crying. I was
really
like,
heartfelt.
I'm fucking crying as well. Like I started tearing. It was it just like wrecked me. Cholo Trulio really nailed it in this episode. Like he's always very funny, and he's always really good at getting to the heart of things, I think, as well. Like he's kind of this buffoon with like a heart of gold, you know?
Mhm.
And I think he really killed that speech. It was very moving, I thought.
Yeah.
Um okay, what about Terry and Amy?
Um, they, what are they the, Hitchcock and Scully. What do they do?
So the other
They get the other
mhm,
precincts.
the
They
other
try to get
precincts, they send all the Hitchcocks and Scullys. So every
right,
other
but, like, what
precinct,
are they trying to do?
well, they wanted extra detectives
Mm.
because they needed more help. And then
Mhm.
the other precincts sent their all of their Hitchcocks and Scullys
All the
and
detectives who were, like,
useless.
yeah,
And so
old white men.
old white men, which I thought was hilarious because again, like in a like a cop drama from like the 80s, all everyone would have looked like Hitchcock and Scully.
Yeah,
Like this continues to be hilarious to me. And then
yeah,
you have Hitchcock and Scully also trying to help Amy game the Hitchcock and Scullys as well. Like they're like
yeah,
the experts on Hitchcock and Scully. And so, you know, they get them pedometers and offer them like overtime if they make have the most steps, but then the Scullys and the Hitchcocks sit in massage chairs and eat sandwiches and the bouncing of the massage chair makes the pedometer go off. Like it's a whole
yeah,
thing. I really really loved that.
yeah,
It made me miss Hitchcock because it was really obvious that he wasn't there. I mean, I know he's on the little thing, but I kind of wanted to see him in scenes with Scully. I don't know. It was very like I know there's got to be a reason why he's on that video call, and like I accept whatever that is, but I love the Hitchcock and Scully thing. I really felt like I missed the two of them together. Anyway, I don't know
yeah,
how you felt about that. I know you're not that into those characters, but I really like them as side characters very much.
yeah.
The other big thing, and I was very disturbed by this, so disturbed, was that Terry was sick for the whole episode, had a stomach bug. I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but I was very upset that Terry continued to work while sick. And everyone seemed to be encouraging it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you have any feelings about that, or were you just like whatever?
I kinda was like, whatever," because he's a character,
I know,
and
but I guess I'm just overly sensitive to sickness now.
mm,
And so I'm like, he should not be at work. If he is even thinking that he's sick. And I know that he doesn't have COVID or anything but like honestly, you've had a stomach bug, right? You
yeah,
got it from my kids. Just
yeah,
from like you didn't even touch them. You were just like here like a couple years and it was like it was awful, right?
yeah,
Can you imagine someone coming to work with that and then giving it to everyone else? That's the whole
mm-mm,
thing. The whole time I was like, he's going to get everyone sick.
yeah,
Like they're all going to get the stomach bug, which
yeah,
is what happens to the cops. He goes and does like sort of a spy thing. You know, he goes to their meeting, he finds out they're all lying and he has
yeah,
proof of it sort of but then he gets them all sick and then they all have to stay home anyways.
yeah.
It was
I mean,
gross.
I don't know how you would even work with like that, like, I was either dead or, like,
Just like barfing from both ends.
projectile
Barfing
everything.
from both ends. Butt barfing, face barfing. I don't know how you could go to I was just very upset the whole time. I was like, "Terry, please go home." It made me very on edge.
Yeah,
It was a little hard for me to laugh about that. Uh, Partly because I know how bad stomach bugs are because I have children, but also
yeah,
because like I'm just in this COVID like pandemic era that we're in. I'm just highly sensitive to like the fact that people should not be going to work when they're sick, I guess.
yeah,
That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
totally.
Like if I think someone is thinking about coughing, I'm like, please go home. Like if you look in your eyes like you might have a cough. Yeah, exactly. Like I just go get away from me. I don't
Yeah,
want you near me.
yeah,
Anyway, and then the last prong was Rosa. Loved this storyline.
yes.
So Rosa,
So,
yeah, you
yeah.
tell us about it. Tell us about it, Sarah.
No, she finds out that the targeted officer placed the mouse in his own
Yes, he bought the mouse.
burrito. He bought the
Yes.
mouse at a pet store
Mhm.
and put it in his burrito.
Right. But was what was on the line if she found out?
Holt's secret tattoo.
His not just a tattoo, but a tramp stamp.
Mhm.
And I love the part where she's like, they're like, Holt has a tramp stamp. And he's like, I do not have a tramp stamp. And then when they explain it, he's like, oh.
I didn't know what a tramp stamp was.
um, I loved I feel like this is only a thing you can get away with like in a season 8 where it's like we know the show is ending because the
Yeah.
idea that Holt would have a tattoo is kind of absurd. Like Holt is
Yeah.
not a guy that gets a tattoo. He's not even a guy who accidentally gets drunk and gets a tattoo, right? But
Yeah.
for some reason I totally buy into it and I'm like obviously Holt has a secret tattoo and he cannot let anybody know what it is. And
Yeah.
the whole idea of like Jake paying Rosa to find out what the tattoo is, and then us later finding out that that Holt paid Rosa even more to lie
Mhm.
about the tattoo, and it's like
Yeah.
just a dot, like she doctored the photo, so it looks
Yeah.
like a dot on his back. All of that, loved it, made me laugh so hard.
I
Um,
wanna know what it was.
yeah, that was the other thing is that Rosa's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody you have a tattoo of a, and then they go to like credits, and I was like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
maybe one day we'll find out. Probably not.
Probably not.
So I guess if you don't do you have anything else you wanted to say about this episode? I feel like I could get to the end.
Um, have we forgotten how the trident turned into a pentadant?
It did turn into what was the pentadant? Wasn't the pentadant
Prong
Terry
4 was
going to
Terry
yes.
recording officers me eating in
Mhm.
secret, and his stomach actually the
That was
the
very funny
the
to me.
gurgles cover everything. Prong
Yes.
5
Oh,
is what the
it did become a pentadant.
yes, it did. What the NYPD didn't do. Like where Holt
Oh,
tells
yes. Well, that
him,
brings us to the end, which is what I
yeah,
wanted to talk about.
yeah.
And this is where I did not expect the episode to go. Was for them to say, with fewer cops on the street, here are the positive things that happened. And
Mhm.
I was like, wow, fucking
Mhm.
right on. You know, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, we have research to suggest that fewer cops is actually a good thing and
Yeah.
that there were fewer false arrests and there was less incidents. And like, I was like, wow, like that's pretty ballsy for
Yeah.
a sitcom,
Yeah.
you know?
The crime stayed the same. It didn't get better, didn't get worse,
Mm-hmm.
but wrongful arrests and
Mm-hmm.
issues,
Altercations with the police. Yeah.
altercations went down.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy. And
Mhm.
I was like, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
So again, I didn't know at first where they were going with this. And then when they got there, I was like, kudos, you know?
Mhm.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about Blue Flu?
It almost became Operation Fork. I remember that
Oh,
joke. That was
Operation Fork.
hilarious.
This isn't a trident anymore, it's a fork. Yes, that was a good joke. That was a good joke. Um, yeah, I think that it was a good episode. It wasn't like a mind-blowing episode. It had a lot of good moments. I think Boyle's speech to Jake as a character moment was the highlight for me of that.
Yeah.
And then the tramp stamp. Come on. Who doesn't like a tramp stamp joke?
Yeah.
Um, shall we talk about episode 4?
Balancing.
Balancing. So this is what we talked. So in the last time that you and I talked about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, one of the things we wanted was to see more of Jake and Amy trying to deal with the fact that they're parents and how do they balance that. I feel like a lot of shows have babies and then don't really
Mhm.
know how to do what to do with that as a story. Do you
Mhm.
feel like this was a satisfactory storyline about that?
Hmm. I think they had a good moment at the
Mhm.
end, like the last scene.
That was good. Yeah.
I think that both of them seemed I don't know, like, almost like the kid was an inconvenience.
Yeah, I get that. Um,
Um,
which frankly, if you're trying to get work done, a
yeah,
child can be a inconvenience.
yeah,
I think there were a lot of good jokes here. I think that there was a good attempt at showing the difficulty of balancing being a working professional and having a child. It didn't like check all the boxes for me. But I like that they tried to work that out. And what I really liked is it wasn't automatically assumed that Amy would have to not do her thing
yeah,
and that Jake would do his thing. Like the
yeah,
fact that the both of them, I mean, to be honest, the whole time I was like, look, I know Jake wants to break this case, but Amy's thing seems like she has to be there. Like
yeah,
Boyle can do what he's doing
yeah,
without you, and you can probably be at home with the baby and try to like do some shit from your house.
and that's
So,
what
yeah.
happened.
So, but I did appreciate that the assumption wasn't automatically Amy's got to drop what she's doing and
Yeah,
stand with the kid. So, I guess we should set this up a little better. So, Amy has like a very important presentation to give. And Jake is on the verge of busting some serial killer that I don't remember them mentioning before. I feel like
Franzia.
the Franzia killer, which reminded me of the boxed wine. I don't know if you know about when I was in high school, we used to get drunk off of Franzia, the boxed wine. It was a
Mm,
rosé, in case anyone's
okay.
wondering. Long live
Um,
Franzia.
yeah, so if this season 8 and we haven't heard about Franzia, how much of an arch nemesis could he be?
I'm not saying we've never heard of him. I just don't remember it. It
Mm,
seemed like a
okay.
new killer, but I guess the idea, I don't know. I guess they were like they. I get. I mean, it didn't bother me. I was just like, I don't remember hearing about this guy before. Um. So then what happens is they can't take Mac to preschool or his daycare because he gets lice. Right? There's like a lice outbreak.
Mhm.
That's what
Right.
happens. Now,
Yeah.
this whole storyline I found lice is a real problem. So I definitely found that to be realistic. I don't know if you remember this. No, it happened in kindergarten. I don't know if you remember this, but Lucas had lice. My son
Mhm.
had
I
lice in
remember.
kindergarten, and our whole house was afflicted. Like it took weeks. We had to wash everything. The thing I didn't find realistic was that they were like, okay, we're going to slap some maple syrup on and that's it. And I'm like, I mean, you could have mined so many more jokes out of this. Like when you have lice in your house, you have to fucking wash everything. You have to wash all the stuffed animals. You have to wash all the bed sheets over and over and over again. Like you got to wash every fucking surface that
That's
anybody's body has touched.
terrible.
It sucks.
Terrible.
Also, maple syrup, never heard of that, but I will tell you that you have to shampoo your hair with this fucking nasty, like it burns your fucking scalp shampoo that's supposed to kill all the lice. Like there was a lot of lice jokes in there that I feel like they missed out on, and it wasn't super, like as a parent I was like, I feel like there's a lot of ways they could have gone here that they didn't. But yeah, like your hair burns it, like honestly after a while we were like, we can't fucking, like we every day we were combing the kids out with these like lice comb things. Ultimately we shaved Lucas's head. That is what ended up happening. We couldn't figure out how to get rid of the lice, so we shaved his head. He didn't like it. There's a
Yeah.
picture of him looking very upset. I don't know if you remember that picture where he got his head shaved and he was super upset about it.
I don't
And he
remember.
actually was like, I like after we shaved his head, he was like, I don't want to look at myself in the mirror because
Oh,
I don't want to see
no.
myself like this. It was so
Oh my
sad.
god.
He was
He was
so upset.
2?
He was 5 because he
Oh,
was in kindergarten.
5. Okay, okay. I
Um,
don't remember
I
this.
had to I had to shampoo my head with lice shampoo for like a week. It ruined my
What
fucking hair.
what house were you
It was
in?
here at the house we're at now.
I don't remember
I
this.
can't believe you didn't get lice.
Excuse me? Was
I
my
can't
info Oh, 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 oh. over during the lice outbreak?
I mean, when were you not over my house before the pandemic? You were always here. We were always watching movies. I can't believe you didn't get lice. You
Oh
probably,
my
I
god.
think you probably stayed away during the time that he had the lice. I'm gonna guess because you don't
Okay.
want to be here at the house when somebody has a lice outbreak. It's fucking
Yeah.
serious. There is an entire business of people. You can hire them. They come to your house. They steam everything. They shampoo everybody's fucking heads. There are people who have an entire industry based on ridding people of lice. That's how bad it is.
Why are lice so fucking awful?
They're terrible, and it does make your head itch. Like it hurts like a motherfucker. It just like all your hair. It's like having like constant dry scalp.
So
It's
you
terrible.
actually had, like, the lice, like, bite your skin?
I don't know. We never could figure out if I had lice or not because my hair is so thick.
Yeah.
But Chris was convinced that I did have lice, and he did make me shampoo my head. And my head was itchy. So I don't know if it was just like sympathetically itchy,
Sympathetic itch.
or maybe it
Yeah.
was the fucking awful dry out your hair, burn your scalp shampoo that I had to shampoo with. But my head definitely was itchy. So eventually we did get rid of the lice. It took several weeks. It was awful.
That's crazy.
Welcome to Lice Talk. I'm sure this is
The
what you're
lice podcast.
all here for. Anyway, what I'm saying is, again, I'm typically disappointed in many ways with the way parenting is portrayed in a
Yeah.
sitcom. There are certain sitcoms where the focus is being a parent, and some of those, like I think Modern Family did a pretty decent job with dealing with that stuff. But usually on a sitcom that's not about being parents, having a child dropped into the storyline is kind of an afterthought.
Mhm.
So I don't think they really milked all the lice jokes they could out of this, is what I'm saying. They kind of dropped in the maple syrup and then it was like, that's it. Now it was very funny watching them walk around with maple syrup on their hair. But I feel like you still and I liked how Amy looked like shit right before her
Mhm.
presentation. That was
Yeah.
very funny. But like they could have easily done that with lice shampoo because it fucks up your hair. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I also found like there was a whole storyline with Amy like needing to jazz up her presentation, and Terry kind of became the person who was trying to help her with that, which
Mhm.
seemed a bit out of character for Terry. Although I did like the idea of tiny Terry like being a ruthless, whatever that tap dancing show he was on. I felt like Gina's presence was really missing from this episode
Yeah.
because Gina would have been the right person to step in and try to, zhuzh up Amy's presentation.
Yeah, that's true.
So I missed Gina. I feel like I'm dogging this episode. I'm really not. I did enjoy it, but there were some things that I was like,
You know the best part for
what?
me?
Mm-hmm.
The Holt and Kevin storyline.
Oh my god,
The
please, can
dick
we talk
pic.
about this? It was a wait, I wrote
Uh,
it down. A digital phallus portrait.
yes. And he was like, "I said a digital phallus portrait," and she was like, "A digital." You
He
said a
got
dick
drunk
pic.
at Rosa's and he sent Kevin a dick pic.
Yeah, but he
Oh
emailed
my
him a dick
god.
pic.
He
He
emailed him a dick
emailed
pic.
him.
You're right, Sarah. How could I forget? That was literally my favorite part of this episode.
And
Oh
so they
my
had to
god.
go over to his place to kind of like
Mhm.
delete it before he
From
saw it,
his
which
email.
reminded me of an episode of Friends where like
Oh,
they
right.
tried to like delete a voicemail.
Richard's voicemail. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which that's such a 90s plot
Mhm.
line. But
Well, deleting someone's email feels like a 90s
yeah,
plotline as
I
well,
know,
which is
I
why it's
know.
so funny.
Yeah. And then Rosa was like, "You should reach out to him and tell him you're thinking about him." And so he like
He
texted him
sends him another dick pic.
another dick pic, and then he
Amazing.
got a text back that was like it was like a scatter plot with
Yeah.
like what was the
He
line? It
sent him
was
back
like
charts, and Holt was like, "This is very arousing."
yes,
Holt and Kevin continue to make me so sad. Like this was very funny with the dick pic stuff. Again, they're like really pushing Holt's character. They're like, you know what? It's season 8. We're gonna have Holt do all kinds of things he wouldn't do, like
yeah,
send dick pics, and that was very funny to me. But I do feel like if somebody's like brokenhearted, they might do things that are like out of character. I don't know. Maybe Holt got drunk and got a tattoo. I don't know. Because he was sad about Kevin. But the dick pic thing was really funny. And then Kevin sending him back like charts was even funnier.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want them to get back together so
I
bad. I'm
know.
so
They were
sad.
married for so
I
long.
am
Why did they get
so
divorced?
sad. Well, they're not divorced
Why?
yet. They're
They're not?
separated. They're
Okay.
separated. They're not divorced. They're just
Well,
not.
why?
Well,
I don't
now
understand.
well, the pandemic was hard on everyone. That was his explanation, remember?
I know.
Anyway, I'm just really sad about it. And I'm really sad about I just want them back together. I just really
Mhm.
do. I hope that they are going to get them back together, and when they do, it's going to be really rewarding. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Oh, one joke that I thought was hilarious about the kid. Sorry, this is back to the parenting jokes. Is when Jake has to bring the baby to the interrogation room, and oh no, he has to bring the baby to work, and Boyle is doing the interrogation, but he has the microphone in his ear, and Jake is feeding him all the lines, but then at some point Mac poops, and so Jake is I'm laughing just thinking about it. Where he's like, "Did you poop?" And then Charles is like saying everything that Jake said. He's like, "It smells like you pooped." Ah! I died. I was like, "This is perfect." I was screaming.
I love the part where they had the b- the the baby and they were trying not to wake him up and they were singing each other like information and like
Yes. Yes, that was
lullaby
so
and tune.
cute because he doesn't
So cute.
he Mac was sleeping. Yes, it was
Yeah.
adorable.
Very cute.
I was a little confused at times as to how old Mac was because the prop baby was very
Yeah.
tiny, but the baby they filmed at the ending
Yes.
was like
Like
almost
2 years
was like
old or
2 years
something.
old. I was like, what is happening? It's like one of those weird TV things.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I like the whole scene with the nanny interviews, although I feel like I've seen that in other
Oh
shows
yeah,
before.
the nanny interview montage, like
Seen it,
Jesus.
seen it, seen it. What was there's a movie that they did. Was it fucking Baby Boom that did that? That we
Mhm.
watched for the feminine mistake. It was same scene,
87 or
same
something.
scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same scene.
Franzia turns out to be one of the nannies.
He's the one who says
The cuddler. He's the cuddler.
the cuddler.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Um. Amy goes to her presentation. She has to go because like only she can do it, and so Jake then has to stay home with the baby. That's what they decide.
Yeah.
Amy looks insane. She's got giant glasses on. Her hair's crazy. She's wearing like sweatpants that say like juicy on the back or some shit.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's right. Um and or WAP.
Very 2020.
WAP, yes. So anyway, I loved Amy's little dance after she won.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was great.
adorable. And I really loved the moment. Well, we didn't talk about this, but they're really worried about Mac's development, which is very on
Mhm.
brand for Amy. And Mac stands up in the crib and Jake is there to witness it. And
Mhm.
that was a really sweet moment, I thought.
Yeah,
The way his face lit up, I think
I
Andy played that scene
know.
really well.
Yeah.
Especially because there's probably nobody in that baby container. He's just playing to
Baby
nothing.
container.
They shot that baby or they got stock footage of a baby and they dropped it in there and it's just like Andy reacting to nothing.
Yeah.
But he played that scene really beautifully. Actually, did he pick up the baby? I can't even remember. They may have had a real baby in the scene, but I remember it was like one of those things where Jake's looking into the playpen.
Yeah.
and
There's
then,
like a
and
light
then they
shining in his eyes.
and then they cut to the one shot of the baby standing up,
Yeah.
which is what they always do on these shows. I know it's hard and expensive, and there's all kinds of rules with children and filming, and it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, I thought it was very sweet how at the end, they sort of came to this conclusion where it's hard, but we're going to make it work. And together, because, Amy's basically like, you can't have it all. You can't have your career and your kids. And that's like, I think the problem for most women. And I think some men are having to deal with that as well, but it's often less of a man's problem to deal with having it all. I was happy to see it tackled in a show where it was like, unequivocally, this is both of their problems. Like,
Mhm.
at no time was it like, should Amy stay home? Like, it was unequivocally both of them struggling with juggling
Mhm.
it, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
I feel like that is what is a more realistic portrayal, and I do think if you want to really kind of circle back to where we are in our lives, like, it's very well known and well documented that the pandemic was really hard on moms. A lot of moms like had to step back from their careers because they ended up having to stay home with the kids, and like there was like a lot of women who were losing their footing in the workplace, and it was a huge problem. At our house, we actually both took care of the children. If anything, I think because my job requires that I have to focus on people, like I'm teaching, so I'm like in front of even when I was teaching virtually, I was doing synchronous lectures and I'm in front of the computer and people, I've got the camera on me and I can't be watching children. Whereas like, Chris is like, he has meetings, but a lot of his work is like kind of he's doing it on his own time and he's not under someone's eye all the time. So he ended up picking up a lot of the slack. So I think my husband actually ended up probably having to make a lot of career sacrifices during the pandemic to make sure the children were taken care of. And but that's something that we juggled together, and that felt, it was good to see that presented on screen.
Mhm.
It was good to
Yeah.
see that presented. I wonder if we're setting this up for them to come to a place where one of them has to choose. I don't know. It kind of feels like that.
I
You know
hope
what?
not.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it seems like they might be setting up that there's going to be a bigger thing that happens later that's going to be harder for them to juggle. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. I just hadn't thought I haven't been thinking ahead, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess like when I hear that that idea like someone will have to choose, like my gut is just like, oh well, she'll have to quit. Like just because that's
Ooh,
what
I don't want anybody to
always
quit. I
happens.
hope nobody has to quit. That would suck. But yeah, I hope the show doesn't do that to us. Like, Amy, I mean, they both love their jobs so much. It'd be really hard. Um, there, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it does feel like they might use this conflict later. That's all I'm saying.
Mhm.
It could be used again. Any other things to say about balancing?
My phone autocorrected dick pic to sick pic,
Sick pick. I should know by now.
right?
Right? I feel like that should be just phones should no longer autocorrect the word dick pic in 2021, right?
Get on it, Apple,
Get on it.
Android.
Get on it. Okay. Shall we do our moments of thirst?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have some moments of thirst?
I do.
Ooh, let's hear them.
So my first one is um
Sleepy moments of thirst. It's because you're in the
no,
bed. The bed is calling to you. Are you
I'll
literally just going to push the microphone away from you and take the headphones off and go to sleep?
well, I usually go to bed at
I know.
7:30.
We're like on
So,
opposite schedules, you and I.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So the first one is Jake crying after Boyle's testicle
Oh,
monologue,
I love
where
a man who
where
cries.
Boyle says, "Are you crying?" And off camera we hear, "No," and then we see him, and he's always, "Yes." He's just like
Oh,
crying.
I love a man who cries. Not during
Um,
sex. Like, don't cry during sex. I don't want that. You're giving me
what
a
if
weird
it's an
look.
well, if it's an
I don't want crying
involuntary
during
if
sex.
it's an involuntary response, think about the laughing orgasm. There's
Okay.
also the crying or orgasm. Have you ever
I
had that?
I no. I mean,
It's real.
I don't want to shame anyone.
It's
But
real. It happens. It's
I feel like
involuntary.
I don't want crying during sex. I just don't. That's
I've
not the
had
place for it.
them.
You've had
I've
crying
had
orgasms?
yes.
Like, do you just sob?
No.
No?
No, it's just
It's just
it's
like
like
a
a
tear
few
leaks out of your
tears.
eye? Okay, well,
It's a
that's
few
okay. I'm
tears.
talking about like full on sobbing because then I'm like, whoa, like what's happening? This is a happy time. Maybe a time for yelling. Like, I'm okay with yelling. Yelling is okay. I don't want crying. I don't want sobbing. I'll say I don't want sobbing. But I
Okay.
do love a sensitive. I love a sensitive man who has deep friendships and is in touch with his feelings. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Well,
burned by like a ex boyfriend who used to. He
he would
used
sob.
well. It's a long ago, long time ago, like way long ago. He would yeah, he would get a little emotional and it was weird stuff. It was like, why are you with me? I'm such a loser. He was a loser
Oh
though. So he
god.
was he
Yeah.
was accurate. Anyway, enough about me. Let's go back to your moments of thirst.
2.
Yeah.
Um, Jake seeing Mac pull himself up, like you were just saying, the look on his
Yes.
face, like the how
Yes.
he lit up,
Yes.
and it was very
Yes.
sweet.
It was very
Mhm.
sweet. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I wrote that down too, actually. Yeah. Um okay. So my moments of thirst. I just want to say that I continue to love Andy wearing that maroon hoodie. Like he's been wearing that hoodie since that hoodie's been reappearing over and over and over again throughout the show. And maroon's like a really good color on him. It looks really nice on his skin. He looks really good in it. And it looks really soft. I feel like Andy's like chin dimple is really like prominent this season and it's cute and adorable and I love it. I love to see the chin dimple really shining in season 8. Also, I wrote down Jake being happy about the baby. His like, I think it was that genuine emotion that just like I really connected to, and then just generally, supportive partners are sexy as fuck. I find supportive partners to be incredibly sexy.
He seemed reluctantly supportive though. He wasn't like, "Sure, I'll do anything for you, babe." It was like,
Sure.
"Aw, man,"
But he
you
did
know?
it, but he did
I
it, he
know.
did it, and he was excited for her when she came home and she had achieved. Like, he
Yeah.
wasn't jealous, he wasn't like, "Well, I didn't get to do my thing." Like, he was happy for her, and he was
Mhm.
excited to tell her about what had happened with Mac while she was gone.
Mhm.
And so that, I feel like that's real. Like, people want like, he wants his own career. He can't completely drop what he wants, and he's trying really hard to do that when he needs to. But I didn't feel at any point that he was like resentful of her for like having succeeded in what she wanted to do. And so to me, that's being supportive.
As you would imagine, I'm normally up for pretty much anything in the bedroom,
Mhm.
but I can't tell if what happened was weird or sexy.
So we're ready for some Adam and Andy trivia.
Yes. So,
Mm.
as you know, Andy was on SNL.
He was, yeah.
So, how old was he when he
Mm.
first got obsessed with SNL?
How old was he when he got obsessed with SNL?
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think of when I first became aware of SNL, and it's like so well, Andy and I are about the same age. He's like a year older than me. Um so gosh, I'm going to say I'm going to say 9. 9 is the number that comes to my head.
He was 8.
I was so
So you're close, you're
close. Yeah,
close,
I feel
yeah.
like that is around the time that I became aware of SNL and became aware of sketch comedy, and so that totally makes sense.
Yeah, so he was sneaking downstairs to watch wrestling, and his
Oh.
parents were watching SNL, so it was, like, late at night,
Mhm.
and he was, like so he, like, waited in the back, like, and kind of, like, hid and, like, watched SNL, and then he got kind of obsessed, and he tried to,
Mhm.
like, write jokes and, like, be
That is the
as like, pretend he was
cutest.
SNL and,
Oh
like
my god. I
what's
did the
funny is
same
I
thing
did
though,
the same
Sarah. I did
thing.
the
I
same
did the same
thing.
thing. Yeah.
Sarah, why couldn't we be friends when we were kids? By the way, listeners, Sarah and I just celebrated our 8-year friendiversary. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's one of those dumb Facebook things that reminds you, but I
But
don't but
we
we
became
literally
Facebook
became
friends
friends
when yeah,
right after
like,
we
a
met
few
each other.
yeah,
So it's accurate. I
yeah.
mean, it's pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, it
It's
was,
the
like,
only
it was in a week or so.
Yeah. So 8 years since we've become friends. It feels I told you by text, it feels like we've been friends all of our lives.
I know. It feels like you were always going to be in my life or
Like,
like
it was just like we were waiting to catch up with each other.
exactly.
But I did the same thing, Sarah. I used to write sketches and I loved SNL too. And we didn't have a video recorder. Like we weren't a money family. But I had a tape recorder. And so I used to record basically like radio plays and radio sketches. And I'd get all the neighborhood kids together and we would like do our own kind of SNL, but on a tape recorder. And so it was all audio. And now I'm doing podcasting. Look at me now.
Yeah. Yeah,
That is
no,
adorable.
I would pretend that I was getting my like, the opening stuff where
Mhm.
they showed,
The
like, them,
monologue?
like, the no,
Oh,
not the monologue,
the opening the intro.
the videos
Yes,
of all
yes.
the cast, like, around New York. I would, like, pretend I was, like, walking around New York, like,
Oh,
you know,
Sarah, that's
getting, like,
adorable. I
filmed for
really
that.
wanted to do something like that for the web show that we had planned to do as a thing. But of course we didn't get to do that because of COVID and we shot
Yeah,
everything virtually, but
yeah,
maybe one day.
yeah,
Um That is awesome. What a first of all, that sounds so super cute.
yeah,
I wish you had videotaped yourself doing that because I would love to see a video of that.
yeah,
And the that little bit of trivia really like warmed my heart. What a sweet, adorable piece of trivia. I feel like I
yeah.
just feel so
I'm just
good.
imagining 8-year-old Andy
Oh
just
my
getting, like, jazzed up.
god.
Who would have been on during that time? So when was he born?
Well, if he's a year older than me, then he was born in 78.
78. So 78 plus
So in
8,
88 he would be 10.
86. Who was on SNL in 86? Sorry, I have
It
to look
was
this up.
not great. If I recall, 86 was like, well, Billy Crystal may have been on. Um, 86. Was that when
I'm looking it
Adam
up.
Sandler and no, Adam Sandler, maybe Adam
Okay.
Sandler and Farley, maybe.
A. Whitney Brown,
Okay.
Nora Dunn, John
Okay. Yep. John Lovett,
Lovitz,
Dana Carvey, maybe.
Dennis Miller, Al
Dennis Miller.
Franken was a
Okay.
writer, Dana Carvey,
Okay.
Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks,
Yeah,
Victoria
that
Jackson,
actually was a really good year.
Kevin Nealon.
Yep. Good year. Norm Macdonald
Mhm.
may have been on there around that time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good year. Shortly after that, I think is and Norm Macdonald, of course, just passed away last week. Um, I think shortly after that, with at least within the next couple years, was when you had Chris Rock and Adam
Mhm.
Sandler and
Mhm.
Chris Farley, and
I
so
was
that was a
first
good year.
aware of SNL in the late 90s when I was,
Hmm.
when I was about 8 or 9.
Hmm.
So what was that?
Late 90s
1998
was probably Will Ferrell,
SNL. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Will Ferrell,
Sherry
Sherry
O'Terry.
O'Terry,
Hmm.
mhm, Daryl Hammond, Molly
Hmm.
Shannon, Tim
Hmm.
Meadows,
Hmm.
Tracy Morgan, Anna Gasteyer,
Yeah, that was a good
Chris
year too.
Kattan,
Mhm,
Jimmy Fallon, Colin
mhm.
Quinn, Norm Macdonald, Jim Brewer, Chris Parnell. Yeah, good good
It's good.
cast.
Those good times.
I think it's so funny, SNL's been on so long that,
I
like,
know that
every
generations.
generation, like, feels like they have, like, their cast, like, the cast that
Well,
they grew up.
I used to watch the new ones, but also you could watch on I think on Comedy Central or something, they would show the old 70s SNL, and I was obsessed with that.
Oh, yeah.
So I was watching, like, Bill Murray and Gilda Radner and Dan Aykroyd and
Yeah, I
all those guys.
actually,
Jim Belushi.
just today
John
actually
Belushi. Shit, did I
read,
say Jim Belushi? No. Ugh.
I just today read Steve Martin's book, Standing Up,
Mhm,
where he talks about basically the beginning of his
mhm,
career, like, like, from
mhm,
when he was, like, 10 years old
mhm,
until, the end of his stand-up career, like, 33 or something like that.
mhm.
And it was just so interesting to hear his story, and he talked a bit about, SNL, and I
Yeah, he was a
remember
pretty frequent
seeing
guest.
his stand-up, like, I think he was, like, a guest in the first season.
Yeah, he did a lot of he was on there so often it almost felt like he was a cast member. He like he was in so many of the sketches. The
Yeah.
really I think memorable ones. I have a couple of his comedy albums actually, or I think I have at least one of his comedy albums.
You
I think
you
I have
might
Let's. I think we have Let's. I think I have Let's Get Small. Actually.
I'm curious what you would think of this book. Like he's a very good writer. This book
Mhm.
isn't very well written. It's like it feels like it was written quickly,
Mhm.
but it was interesting stuff like
Mhm.
about if you are interested in his
Yeah.
life. Like, yeah.
I love biographies of comedians. I went through a phase, I think we went through that phase at the same time where we were like listening to man, Amy Poehler's book. God, I still like that one really hit me really emotionally. Amy Poehler's book and Mindy Kaling's book, and I couldn't get through Tina Fey's book, but I think it was just a little too like I'm trying to remember. It felt a little like Amy Poehler's book was so vulnerable and like I think uh
Bossy Pants.
yeah, I think Bossy Pants was like more like I'm telling you a story but I'm distanced from it, and I think I just maybe I'll get
Mm.
back to it sometime, but I was just like ooh, like I feel like I'm not connected to you. I'm not connecting to you the way I was, with these other books, so I
Yeah,
just
I feel
couldn't
like I didn't
finish it.
connect to Amy Poehler's book because she spent a lot of time talking about how hard it was to write the book and how
Hmm.
much she didn't want to write the book.
Oh, I remember that was like I remember that part, but it was it wasn't a lot compared to the rest of the stuff that was in it. I don't know. I just really connected a lot with her book. Anyways, Sarah, that was a lovely piece of trivia. Thank you so much. I'm just like my heart is really warmed by the idea of 8-year-old Andy like sneaking downstairs to watch SNL. I just love that. That's so sweet. And then he's on SNL and
He's on
look at him.
SNL. His
Look at him
dream came
now. I
true.
know. I just like that just oh, God, Andy Samberg is like Andy Samberg, the person. I know that human beings are like flawed and they have multi dimensions and all that shit, but like to me, Andy Samberg is like a fucking warm chocolate chip cookie that just came
He's
out of
like
the
the
oven.
Tom Hanks of
He's like
comedy.
the Tom Hanks of comedy. Oh God, I just love him so much.
Oh, you look awesome. Come the fuck upstairs.
Okay.
But wait, I have to warn you about something.
What?
If you come up here, I'm gonna tie you to my bed and keep you for at least 3 days. I'm just in that kind of mood.
So, shall we talk about what we're watching next week?
Yes.
So, listeners, we're not spinning the wheel this week, and it's not what you might think. Ordinarily, we would switch over to talking about Adam in the next episode,
All
but
right.
we decided to shake things up because we really want our next Adam episode to be The Last Duel, which I think doesn't come out until the 17th in the US.
Mhm.
So Sarah and I really wanted to talk about that the next time we get together to talk about Adam. And so in order to accomplish that, we decided that the next episode will actually be episodes 5 and 6 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 8. So we're doing double Andy. It's double Andy time. So I meant to pull up the next couple of episodes so that I could tell you what they were called. But anyway, so listeners, we're going to be watching episodes. Here we go. There we go. Episodes 5 and 6. Ooh, Sarah. Ooh, Sarah.
What?
The next
Tell
episode
me.
is called PB&J, and that
Oh.
is the return of Doug Judy. So the episode 5, we got Doug Judy and Jake, and they're on an adventure together, and I fucking can't wait. And then episode 6 is called The Setup. When the FBI takes over a high profile case, Jake keeps digging. Amy and Rosa negotiate with O'Sullivan and the police union. So it sounds like we're going to still be getting more. So yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like, this police thing is an ongoing storyline. We are not dropping it. And that, I guess that makes sense. They did cast a pretty high profile actor in that sort of police union guy role. So,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Doug Judy again. I'm so excited. All episodes of it's like Halloween Heist and Doug Judy. Guaranteed, always my favorite episodes of the season. So I'm pretty psyched. So listeners, that's what you can expect from us next. And then after that, we'll be talking about The Last Duel. So You can. We love talking to you guys. I've been having such a blast talking with people on Twitter and other places about all these upcoming projects, and talking with people about Brooklyn, the last season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and all these. Twitter was a real fun place to be, by the way, on the night of the Emmys when 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 they thanked Adam Driver on for the Last Week Tonight writers. Anyway, anytime something like that happens, when something exciting comes out about Andy or Adam, it's just such a fun place to be. And so, listeners, thank you for listening to the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching. I just get so much joy out of doing the show with you, Sarah, and talking to the listeners about it. So talk to us, tell us your thoughts on this episode. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Adam and Andy Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Adam Andy Pod. So, Sarah, you look so cozy.
I'm cozy.
So, thank you for joining us from your bed. I appreciate the level of commitment that you're bringing to this
I'm committed.
absurd show that we do together.
I will always do this show. Even if my back is just like, no.
No, the back doesn't want it, but we don't care.
You don't care?
We don't care because we are doing it. I hope that your back is feeling better soon. And,
Me too.
And I love you.
I love you too.